Okay, we did not plan this to be, I mean, this was an independent keynote, so you might have some repetition with what Prem said. So that's me on the internet. I'm Sanket Sahu. I am one of the co-founders of GeekyAnts. And yeah, thank you so much for coming and dropping by. We do meetups, as Prem said already. NativeBase is one of the open source library that we created. It's one of the famous GitHub projects with more than 20,000 stars on GitHub. It reached about 100K weekly downloads at one point on NPM. And it's now the successor of Gluestack, NativeBase is Gluestack, which you can use to build web and mobile apps. So this one more like write once and run everywhere, which follows the philosophy of React Native. Uh, a little bit about me, you might know me from this tweet, which went viral at one point in Bangalore. So I built this caravan, fully off-grid caravan, where I can sleep, work, and eat. And I sometimes take it to places in and around Bangalore. It's also parked downstairs. If you want to have a look later, please go ahead. And yeah, this is the meetup group. This is the stage. There's a picture from this stage. This was the last, I think, one of the React Native meetups. And we are thriving. We are world's largest React Native meetup group with close to 8,000 people. Uh, no other React Native meetup group in the world come close to this one. And since we are so big, we have started doing React alongside with React Native. And as Prem mentioned, we also did run React Native conference in Berlin last year in July, August. There are a few pictures from there. It was a successful conference. We did that in a beautiful church in Berlin. And we had speakers from different companies like Expo, core React Native contributors from Meta, and all the places. So yeah, and this year we are taking it forward. And let's have a look at like where React Native stand today. Uh, React Native by the numbers. Uh, so this was around year 2020, where we had the weekly download around 370K. 370K weekly download of React Native package. And it's growing. It was in 2020. We are 4 years, fast forward 2025, 2024. Any guesses how much is that today? From 375K to today. Huh? Close to 10 times. So we are close to 3 million weekly downloads. And it's growing. The last time when I presented the state of React Native, which was a keynote talk at the GeekConf in Berlin 5-6 months back, we had 2.25 million. In just span of like, what, 5-6 months, it's grown all the way to 3 million downloads, weekly downloads. So you can imagine the impact that React Native is having. And a few tweets. One surprising thing that Harry learned at the Chain React conference, which is one of the React Native conferences in the US, was that the Kindle apparently uses React Native. And there were so many wow moments yet to be discovered. There are actually when it comes to companies using React Native on their custom hardware. So this is one of the big companies is going to announce something in the React Native space as well, which is still under close NDA. We can't reveal their name, but yeah, this tweet is talking about that on custom hardwares. Let's have a look at the top 100 business apps as of May 2024. You can see that out of 100, 26 of them use React Native in some extent. So React Native can be used partially or it can be used fully as a greenfield 100% React Native app, or it can have some screens. For example, the Facebook app, the marketplace section in the Facebook app, it uses React Native. It's not 100% React Native. While we have different apps like Shopify. Shopify is, I think they have more than 250 screens built using React Native in their main app. So Flutter is around 3 and Cordova is around 8, which is amazing to see. And this is a stat almost like 8-9 months back. So you can imagine that it's growing rapidly. And even we at GeekyAnts, the number of requests that we are getting from our clients, it's increasing, it's skyrocketing. Even like top banking organization in India are betting on React Native. We saw that React Native went from being a library to the framework approach. Now they are recommending using React Native frameworks, something like Expo on their main website, which completes the loop in some sense that the way we have Next.js for React, we have Expo for React Native. And the community is growing rapidly. I have a few tweets. The first one is from Nishan. Uh, Nishan used to work with us. He's a super intelligent person, and he's been contributing to React Native core. And like every month, he does like few commits to React Native core. He recently added the support of gradients, also CSS rotation, and CSS grid as well, and percentage support. So he's doing it on his own, and that's the beauty of the community. I mean, he's not doing it from a company, he's not getting paid, but he's just doing it because he believes that this can have a larger impact, and he truly likes doing it. So that's the beauty of any open source project, that any random person from anywhere in the world, they can create a PR and then get it merged, and that can have like billion people impacted. Okay. We had few other things which was missing from React Native, like box shadow and corner radius, how it differs between Android and iOS. And this is the API request that I ran on the React Native core repo, and got all these pictures of top contributors. And that's where we stand, like React Native core contributors, uh, changing the world in their own ways. Let's look at the companies using React Native. uh, Amazon got recently added to the showcase page of React Native, where we have Amazon Shopping, Alexa, Photos, and a bunch of different apps. Google recently supported in their project IDX, which is similar to VS Code, runs online, and they are now officially supporting React Native. So that's what the whole community is doing. Like, it takes a village. There are different companies joining hands and trying to build the next cross-platform solution. And the interesting part is that it was started at Meta, but now all the companies are like contributing. We have React Native for Windows. Microsoft is actively working on it. We have Amazon working on it, and a few other companies as well, including GeekyAnts. So yeah, this is what makes React Native. And the recent announcement of the 74 version of React Native has a lot more portability, and the line is actually blurring between web and mobile. So we have got the new architecture, we have got yoga layout, which behaves close to web. We have got yeah, all the little pieces. And it's like, if you are a web developer, which I see there are more web developers here, you can easily use the same learning and knowledge to build real native mobile apps. And we've got the new architecture, which is bridgeless by default. Now, this is with Hermes and static Hermes. The performance is skyrocketing. You don't get the lag that you used to on cross-platform solutions. Yeah, and as I said, embracing web standards, browser-like APIs in React Native. One of the experiments at Meta by Naman and team, who also spoke at one of the conferences here in Bangalore, was React Strict DOM, which makes the API of React Native very similar to web. And an example of this, my friend tweeted, Nader, that you can now build mobile apps with HTML. And this is not Ionic. If you look at the code that's running, it's html.div, html.h1, html.button, and all those existing things. It has the callback with onClick. But this is not running a web view like Ionic, Cordova. This is an actual native view that's rendering. And that's the beauty of React Native and where it's moving with React Strict DOM. And the styling library is Stylex, again by Meta. The Starlink by SpaceX, which is a testimony in itself that it has got all those WebGL rendering with sky scanning and the 3D rendering of the whole sky, right? This is, and this works natively inside React Native. So you can just code and load like 3D models. And yeah, Web GPU was announced at AppJust conference by William, and here is an example of what it can do. So you can build like flawless games now in React Native using the Web GPU. And yeah, also the Vision OS came out last year, and people at Gluestack did not stop there. They are building the Vision OS compatibility of React Native as well, which is so nice to see. Then we have tooling. This is by another company called Software Mansion, and they have built an IDE which is like a plugin on top of VS Code, and you can use React Native IDE to like debug your React Native application. So React Native is everywhere, and everywhere as in like universal. It's available on native devices. It's available on Windows, iOS, macOS, TV, and code sharing is going to be the thing for the future. That's what I believe in. And these companies are sharing code. Like if you have used Uber on web or maybe x.com on your mobile phones, not in the app, it uses React Native Web. And similar is the story with a bunch of other companies. And Expo Router is making it possible, which is one of the libraries. Now this is similar to Next.js routing in some sense, file-based routing, and you can do a lot more. And as I mentioned about Gluestack UI, we are using NativeWind, which is the counterpart of Tailwind. It uses the same API of Tailwind, but on the native side. You can use the same old class name that you know, right, from say bg-red 500 or things like that, and build native mobile apps. And that's why we built Gluestack UI version 2 on top of the NativeWind API. And it's similar to ShadCN. I'm pretty sure you guys must have used ShadCN in your web projects. It's similar to that, but now this works everywhere. We also had the survey of React Native, which had some opinions. The ultimate opinion of state of React Native was console.log and copy paste is the future. I just made that up just to wake you guys up. Come on. Okay, React Native is moving in the right direction, and people do agree, strongly agree that okay, the sentiment of React Native is going positive, and we looking into the future, it looks like that it's going to grow, and it's enterprise ready. That's what we are seeing, at least from the top enterprises in India and even in different countries. More stable, more reliable, and expanding platforms. Right ones run everywhere. Bridging platforms and empowering developers. That's the state of React Native. To get this off started, I'll call speakers. But before that, just real quick GIFs and videos about what you can do in React Native. So this is, you see the animation, like how it changes in a very native feel. This is another one. All these animations are built using React Native, and it feels like very, very native. Then some experiments by Kathleen, and then Parallax. This was very cool. And then a few more by Enzo, and also by William. William built this using Skia. Skia is the graphics engine used by Flutter and also Chrome. So now that's natively possible to do it in React Native as well. So yeah, that's from my side. Thank you so much for listening to me, and let's welcome the next speakers. Thank you so much.